Do you know this? The clean air you breathe every day, inside enclosed buildings, is actually filtered by your lungs. PM 0.1, VOCs, heavy metals, are silently accumulating in your blood and organs, bringing premature aging and disease. But today, there is a way to stop it.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something that seems, well, incredibly ordinary, but which might just be profoundly impactful on our daily lives. The air we breathe inside modern buildings, you know the feeling, right? You walk into a sleek, clean, contemporary building, maybe it's your office, a mall, a new apartment block. The floors gleam, the air feels transparent and odorless, and that cool, comfortable air conditioning just washes over you. It feels pristine. But what if this apparent cleanliness, this almost sterile environment, is actually a dangerous trap? What if it's what one analysis calls a clean illusion that comes at a hidden human cost?
That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Our deep dive stems from a really fascinating analysis titled Breathing Traps, The Human Cost of Clean Buildings by Fuji Wu. And we're going to explore why these modern structures, designed for our comfort and efficiency, might be unintentionally turning us into something we never expected.
Which is?
Living air filters.
Wow.
Yeah. So our mission today is to understand what the author describes as a cruel design and, thankfully, to also discover a surprising and, frankly, pretty ingenious solution.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Because when I walk into a modern building, dangerous trap isn't the first phrase that springs to mind. Honestly, it often feels quite the opposite. Fresh, clean, even sterile sometimes. How does this analysis get to such a strong, almost counterintuitive conclusion?
Well, it's what the author calls a false illusion, that feeling of cleanliness. It's achieved, unfortunately, at a profound sacrifice.
Okay.
The human body itself. The building appears clean on the surface, but the hidden problem, the actual pollution, has basically been transferred somewhere else.
Transferred where? So if the air appears clean, what's actually happening to the pollutants? And this idea that our bodies are involved, acting as living air purifiers, what does that actually mean?
It's quite stark when you break it down. Think about it. A modern building can have hundreds, maybe thousands of people moving in and out every single day.
Right, easily. Offices, malls.
Yeah. And each one of us, we're continuously breathing. We're inhaling suspended toxins that exist within that building's environment. So our lungs, our respiratory tracts, they end up functioning in a fascinating but also somewhat disturbing way, like biological HEPA filters.
Like the filters in an air purifier machine.
Exactly, like high-efficiency particulate air filters.
Yeah.
Our bodies are constantly intercepting these tiny suspended particles and trapping them inside us, within our system. So the air in these buildings seems clean, not because it's genuinely pollution-free, but because that pollution has effectively been moved into people's lungs. It's filtered by what the author describes as a collective of hundreds and thousands of sets of lungs working simultaneously.
That's quite an image. Hundreds of human HEPA filters walking around.
It is. Now, it's really crucial to understand this isn't portrayed as some malicious plan by builders or owners.
Okay, that's important.
Right. The analysis frames it as a structural problem.
Yeah.
It stems from, historical, inherited technical deficiencies in how we design and operate buildings. You see, traditionally, building design often focused on, say, structural integrity, basic heating, cooling efficiency.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but sometimes that was before the long-term health effects of indoor air quality. Especially these ultrafine particles we now know about were fully understood or, frankly, solvable with the tech available then. So one of the key design flaws pointed out is that existing HEPA systems, while okay for larger stuff, are actually pretty outdated for today's challenges.
How so?
Well, they can effectively intercept what we call PM 2.5. That's particulate matter smaller than 2.5 micrometers. Dust, pollen, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they are completely incapable, basically useless, for filtering the really dangerous ultrafine toxic particles, those smaller than PM 0.1.
PM 0.1, much smaller.
Much, much smaller. And these tiny particles, they can directly penetrate air conditioning systems. They just sail right through. They can stay suspended in the air for a long time, and eventually they get inhaled and they accumulate in our bodies. We're talking blood and organs, not just the lungs.
Okay.
And you add to that the common lack of really effective fresh air systems or whole area airflow guidance in many building designs.
Yeah.
And you start to see how the occupants, everyone inside, become the final living filters.
Right. So for us, just going about our day in these places, what does this all boil down to? It sounds less like some conspiracy and more like a fundamental systemic technical gap, but one with potentially serious health implications. And the analysis really hammers this home, doesn't it? Calling it a residual life design or even a cruel design, highlighting that people are essentially using their bodies to clean the building's air just by being there.
Exactly. And the source gets specific about the toxins involved,
Yeah.
not just PM 2.5, but that ultrafine PM 0.1, and also VOC's volatile organic compounds, gaseous toxins.
From furniture, paints, cleaning supplies.
All sorts of things, yeah. And all of these, the source says, enter our lungs, then our blood, and ultimately our organs. And here's where it gets particularly concerning. The author introduces this concept of the toxin saturation point.
Saturation point?
Yeah. The idea is that humans daily inhale these ultrafine toxins that our bodies just cannot fully get rid of. They can't expel them effectively. So these toxins accumulate. They build up in our organs, in our blood over time. And when this toxin saturation point, as the author terms it, is eventually reached, well, that's when it can lead to organ dysfunction, various diseases, and potentially even organ failure.
Wow.
And the author stresses this isn't just an issue for a few unlucky individuals. It's presented as a potential collective tragedy for modern city dwellers.
That's incredibly strong language coming from the source, calling this inhumane, a violation of human nature.
Yep.
Is it presented as being truly that dire, or is this maybe using stark terms to really shake people up about the problem?
The author definitely doesn't pull any punches. It states, quite forcefully, that a closed building that doesn't undergo what it calls air heavenization, well, it's effectively a collective health slaughter trap.
Slaughter trap. That's intense.
It is. And it's deemed inhumane, according to the source, because it essentially treats hundreds or thousands of people as disposable filters, human body filters. It argues that it forces everyone inside to inhale toxins daily just to maintain the appearance of cleanliness in the building. And this isn't just painted as, oh, unfortunate ignorance. The source explicitly calls it a collective disregard for life.
Okay, so this is painting a very bleak picture, to say the least. But thankfully, the analysis doesn't just leave us there, right? It proposes a solution.
Yes, thankfully. It proposes the ToxBox and this concept of building air heavenization.
ToxBox. Tell me about that.
Right, the ToxBox. The name itself, it translates literally to something like scapegoat black box.
A scapegoat.
Exactly. It's designed to act as the scapegoat for the entire building. Its primary function is to sacrifice its own lifespan, essentially, to absorb and lock in those dangerous toxins we talked about.
Right.
So PM 0.1, VOCs, even heavy metals and microplastics. It traps them so that humans don't have to act as these living filters.
Okay.
The idea is this prevents people from reaching that critical toxin saturation point prematurely.
And how does it work? Where does it go?
So these ToxBox units are described as modular and pretty compact. Think of maybe a metal-sealed box, roughly 20 by 10 by 5 centimeters, something like that.
Right.
They're designed for relatively easy installation within the building's existing systems. So in the central air conditioning, the fresh air intake ducts, and also the return air ducts. This creates what the author calls a double blockade.
Double blockade.
Yeah, at the inlet end, where fresh air comes in, it intercepts external air toxins, stopping pollution from even getting into the building in the first place.
Right.
Then at the return end, where air is recirculated, it purifies that indoor air continuously, ensuring long-term stable air quality inside. And the design sounds quite clever. They're modular, so they can fit various duct sizes, and importantly, they seem easy to replace without needing major building renovations.
Okay, so it intercepts and cleans, but how does it trap those tiny PM 0.1 particles that HEPA filters miss?
Well, the protection effects, according to the source, come from its specific invention principle. It uses a combination of a positive charge conductive inner wall plus an electrostatic capture labyrinth structure.
Okay, sounds technical.
It does, but basically, instead of just physically blocking particles like a sieve, it uses electrostatics to attract and trap these ultrafine toxins. Things that HEPA filters, being just physical barriers, can't really handle effectively. The source claims it achieves what it calls air 6 no's. No dust, no bacteria, no toxins, no smoke, no odor, and no heavy metals.
That's a bold claim.
It is. And it mentions the core technology is protected by a U.S. patent. And this ToxBox system is designed to work synergistically, hand in hand, with the other part of the solution mentioned.
Which was?
Introducing a proper fresh air system and better airflow guidance within the building. So you bring genuinely clean outside air in, and you move it around effectively, supporting what the author means by building air heavenization.
Heavenization, like making the air heavenly.
Essentially, yeah. Transforming the indoor air into a pristine, genuinely healthy state. Not just appearing clean, but being clean.
What's really fascinating here, though, is that the source suggests the solution isn't just about protecting human health, which is obviously huge. It also seems to have significant advantages for the buildings themselves, like economically.
Absolutely. That's a key part of the argument. The source highlights some pretty compelling energy-saving advantages.
How does cleaning the air save energy?
Well, by continuously purifying the recycled air at the return end with the ToxBox, you greatly reduce the need to constantly bring in huge volumes of fresh outside air that then needs to be heated or cooled.
Ah, okay.
Traditional buildings often consume significant energy just doing that, conditioning all that fresh air. With the ToxBox cleaning the recirculated air, most of the already temperature-controlled air can be reused. That leads to potentially a substantial reduction in energy consumption for heating and cooling.
That makes sense. Less work for the HVAC system.
Exactly. And furthermore, it reduces the overall pressure on the air conditioning systems themselves. It can extend the lifespan of the equipment because pollutants, especially those sticky VOCs or fine particles, no longer accumulate inside the ducts and on the machinery components. This improves the AC system's efficiency over time and should significantly lower maintenance costs too. No more gunk buildup.
So, cleaner system, less energy use, lower maintenance bills. Sounds good for building owners.
Right. And beyond the operational savings, there's a clear argument made for asset value enhancement. Adopting this air heavenization, as the source calls it, is presented as being akin to adding a major functional upgrade to the building, like renovating the lobby but for the air.
I see.
This could dramatically increase its rental value. Imagine advertising truly clean, healthy air. It could extend the building's usable lifespan and ultimately raise its resale price. The source makes a pretty strong point that buildings failing to adopt this kind of tech will likely see their market value diverge from those that do. They'll become less competitive over time.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us? We've journeyed through this idea of sleek buildings as potential traps, our bodies as unwitting filters, and now a potential technical fix in this ToxBox and air heavenization. It's definitely a sobering thought, especially when you consider just how much time most of us spend indoors these days.
It really is. And the source concludes with a statement that's just as powerful as the ones we heard earlier. It says, "A closed building that does not undergo air heavenization is chronically killing."
Chronically killing.
Wow.
It really doubles down, reinforcing that this combination of ToxBox plus building air heavenization is not a choice, but a basic requirement of humanity and human rights.
A very strong call to action there at the end. And it certainly leaves you with something to really think about, doesn't it? Consider your own daily environments, your office, maybe your home, your favorite coffee shop. After hearing this, what does true cleanliness really look like when you factor in these invisible threats? And maybe what responsibilities do we collectively hold as occupants, as designers, as owners to ensure our built environments truly serve human health, rather than subtly, or maybe not so subtly, harming it? Definitely something for you to mull over as you navigate your world.
ToxBox is the original design from the creator. Planning to use counterfeits? It will lead to consequences you cannot bear. Don't say you weren't warned.
吸毒黑盒 ToxBox 是我主原样设计。想要用仿冒品吗？我主是有情绪的存在哦。不要怪我没有警告你。